Hello, 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 and welcome to another One Line of Code. I am One Lion, and we are looking out of a window somewhere in... Whoa, is that lightning? I love lightning. Whoa, that is bright. Limassol, Cyprus. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea where that is. In January. Someday in January, we're looking at Limassol, and that was cool. There are some artifacts on the window that kind of look like space thingies in the top corner. Anyway, hi, welcome in. Welcome to another fabulous day of UI design. Okay, I apologize for anyone that offends. For those of you that love UI design, I hope that you are here and helping me, because I could use some help. Oh man, I'm gonna start off with a story. Apparently, I had a meeting with I don't know what to call them. Anyway, at Sagetti, we have things called practices, which are different sections of the disciplines of technology. And so I'm in one of those disciplines. And so I met with my practice manager because we're supposed to have monthly check-ins. It's supposed to be no more than monthly check-ins, but my previous practice manager was more like quarterly, if that. So I was kind of happy with that. But this one seems to be a bit more adamant, a little bit more on top of their duties as practice manager. And so I met with him for the first time yesterday. We went over all of the introductory stuff. What are my career goals? All of this stuff. Do I have any concerns about what's going on? Do I have any ideas or thoughts on how to make things better? And how is the client project going? And I'm like, well, one of the things that's going on with the client project is that they're asking me to do a lot of UI design work. And I'm not the most skilled at that. I am trying to gain skills in it, which is one of the things I'm doing on stream, of course. So outside of even my Sagetti time, I'm trying to gain skills in this. But it would still be much better if we could convince them to, at least temporarily for another 3 months or so, have an actual UI designer. And he asked if I approached them with this, and I'm like, yes, I have multiple times. The original person who did the person who did the original designs did an amazing job. They only did the designs at one screen size, so I don't have what it looks like in responsive formats. So in narrower screens or super wide screens. Excuse me. Hiccups. So I don't really currently have the skills to make the changes needed so that the UI can still be appealing when I make it responsive to the different sizes, because it has a preferred fit. And that's just one thing that I've never gotten good at. So I'm trying really hard though. So his suggestion, and he asked me what did they say, and I'm like, their usual response is, can we get them for free? And I'm like, I was just making the suggestion, or setting the expectation that I'm not a UI designer. And so if you continue having me do the design work for these new UI elements or the responsive UI, it's not going to be the best it could be. It's not even going to be great. I want to make it great. Again, take as long as you want. Then, first of all, hi, thank you for greeting, and hello to you, amazing human, and all others here, human or not. But yeah, just whenever it's for you, it's all about you. I'm here as a resource. That's about it. But if it does help you to feel accountable, then cool. Yes, tell me about it. I'll listen. I just don't want to make you feel obligated or like it's a chore. That would be stupid. So anyway, he asked if I did anything. I told him about what their normal response is, and okay, cool. So I thought I had a meeting at 12 or 1 o'clock today, but I was told that I don't need to be there, so I'm going to be on call for that. But anyway, told him about that, and then he's like, well, here's what we can maybe do. Send a message to your region manager. I don't know what they're called. No meeting equals good meeting. Exactly. Yeah, I think he's called a regional manager. So Sagetti USA is split up into regions, and I don't know if it's region really, because there's like a west region and a southwest region, or south region and east region, and I don't know. But this is the one that's specifically the manager of all of the assets that are assigned to the Denver area. So whatever he's called. So send a message to him and see if we could set something up for once a week, 1 hour for once a week. The Denver dude, exactly. For me to meet up with or shadow the original UI designer. And I'm like, after I had spent the majority of the meeting telling him that my goals are to focus on the client project and not have to do all of the extra administrative stuff. Like, that would be one of the areas that I would change about any large corporation, is all of the administrative stuff that each of the consultants need to take part in, even though it's all voluntary, like helping with pursuits, or coming up with ideas for how we can make a new product within the company in order to market to clients and attract more business. I'm like, that's not my strength. My strength is being a hard worker, being a good worker, getting my job done very well. And I want to focus on doing that as part of a team for a client project and not have to do any of the other stuff, which probably makes me a bad employee for a corporation, because I'm not contributing to the overall growth other than providing a quality product that we can be proud of to the client, which I would think is good enough. I would think we need people that do that too, along with the people that do the innovation and upselling. So whatever. Anyway, I told him that, and then he's like, well, let's have you dedicate another extra hour per week of time that you would normally be working on the client project to talk with or get on the job training from a UI designer. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's like, you send the message out to all of these other people to initiate that. I'm like, okay. So right after the meeting, I start putting this email together. I'm trying to find the dude that did the original UI designs, and I find the Teams conversation that we had, and he's showing up as unknown user. And I'm like, I think he's gone. So this isn't going to work. So I sent the message back to my practice manager, who said, well, if he's not there, it could just be anyone that is UI. So just send the message out to Denver dude and me, and then the other one was that whole metaverse initiative that kind of just got quiet. So I haven't heard anything back about it since November, I think, was the last time we met. And he's like, you can try to get that started again. And I'm like, that's up to the person that leads that group, not me. But he wants me to get in contact with them. And I'm like, no. This is the administrative stuff, the extra stuff outside of the client project that I didn't want to spend time on. And this is why I don't want to talk with the practice manager, because they're going to give me homework, is what he called it, when I'm already doing enough for the client project to fuel 3 or 4 developers. So anyway, that's it. That's my story. I just wanted to talk about it. There are so many things going on with this job. But anyway, another day, another migration done. Congratulations, Fule. I mean, Snobble. In America, we shorten people's names to the first part typically. And your name seems like it should be shortened to the last part. Or I can just say the whole name every time. And I feel weird about it because I never feel like I'm pronouncing it right. But anyway, I'm more into the feta-worse, i.e. cheese. Feta is so good. I love feta. Crumble it all up. Put it in a gyro. Yeah, I know it's a joke name. I just... It's still your user handle, and I want to respect it by pronouncing it correctly. But Thindle says, sounds awesome, except for you doing that, but getting to do that. I know you live there or there-ish, but I can't hear Denver without thinking about the dinosaur. Denver, the last dinosaur. Is that? Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. Is it that one? Or is that something else? Wait, I wanted to copy just Denver. It is. It is. Oh man. Oh man. I missed this. I completely forgot about this. It's funny. Anyway, good times. Very, very 80s. Okay, so what we've been working on the stream is redesigning the work that we've done on the stream project, which is the financial management tracker, an application that allows users to manually track transactions for all of their tracked financial institutions, whether it's a payment from their account to some other account or a deposit from from one of their tracked accounts to an external source, a deposit from an external source to one of their tracked accounts, or a transfer between their tracked accounts. I don't know why I'm hiccuping, but that's that. So we finished the core functionality of the application, and so now what we're doing is spending some time doing design work, because as you heard in the story that I told for the first 80 minutes of the stream, or it was maybe only 8, but still it was a long time, I do want to gain some UI design skills. It feels like no matter how much time I sink into it, I still end up not quite being able to get the aesthetic part of it. Like, I'm doing my best. I know how to do this, I think. Anyway, I'm doing my best, but it just, like, the thing that I feel like I can do well is copy an existing design. So that's cool. That's not a terrible thing to do when you're looking for inspiration. This is pretty closely based on this design here. But I just, like, if I try to come up with anything on my own using the patterns that I have seen on other websites, it doesn't come out good. It just, I don't like it. But anyway, so Thindle says, want to know where I've learned my UI design skills? I count myself a description to elements.envato.com. And then I had all the skills I have today. So is this a component library? Or, oh yeah, you showed us this one last time, and I told you that I was using Dribble. Just add a bunch of gradients. Exactly. The thing is, I also want to animate this background gradient. So I'm just complicating it for myself, but I think if I do it in a minimalist, simplistic way, it'll look good. It'll look clean. But yeah, I use Dribble which is similar to what you just showed us. And yeah, right now the gradient is being done with CSS. So this is where we are. Like, I wanted to stick to using only Figma and these static images, but after we got past showing what the main landing page is going to look like when you go there, specifically on 1920 by 1080, and then you scroll down a little, then I want the top part, the hero section to squish, to compact, and then the rest of the content to start taking over. But then the other effect that I thought would be appealing, which of course can always be disabled for people that don't like effects and stuff, is as you're scrolling down further than just the compact view, it starts to disappear behind the top nav, which the top nav doesn't have any hard lines saying I'm a top nav. It's a borderless one. And so I need a way for it to disappear at this point to make it look like it's going behind the top nav, which I think I have a good approach for. But as you can see, I also am showing here that the background is parallaxing as it goes up. So when it's the full thing, here's where the arrow is, or the diamond. And then when you scroll down a little bit, it stays squishing up so that this thing is in the middle. But then by the time you're here, that diamond is much further up. So it's kind of, here's the content, here's the background, it's going like this, you know. But then the other thing that would be cool is if when it gets to the top, it kind of collapses on itself. Or I don't know, this top bar kind of looks pretty cool with the background still showing through on it when it's that high. I want to catch that high. Anyway, but that said, I'm trying to do this all with static images, and I'm a visual person. I want to see this behavior to know whether I even want to continue with it. So we ended up hopping over to CodePen, and Marcus is like, just use Visual Studio Code, which is true because then I'll have IntelliSense and all of the other benefits of working in an editor. But it's also kind of fun for me to just do it straight in CodePen with no extra assistance. Where's my second Betacootie browser? Oh, there you are. It's got Dribble on it. I made a funny. So Mendel says, because in that case, you can keyframe animate it. He says, also realizing CSS animations are black magic. The background though, I mean, I guess I could, but the problem is that thing needs to be based on scroll position, which you can't do using CSS, to my knowledge. It may have updated, there may be something new out there, but when I first tried to do something like this, there was no scroll position in CSS that you could access. Let me show an example of that, as a matter of fact. How long ago was this? Holy cow. It was a long time ago. Okay, so for example, these trees here on this, you can see the parallax effect that I'm wanting to achieve. The other thing that I'm doing is you can see that the header, or that the top bar here, is also becoming opaque as you scroll. So this is done via JavaScript, because at the time there was no such thing as Blazor. But I think I would still have to do this kind of effect using JavaScript anyway. And then here's this without JavaScript. Yeah, this is definitely the kind of effect that I'm thinking of. So as you scroll, it's moving left and right. Or I want it to move only left, or up and left, but whatever. But these don't look like they are divs with backgrounds. But yeah, so this animation timeline view block almost looks like it is scroll position. Yeah, that's definitely something to keep in mind. I'm going to star this since we will, or heart it, since we will most likely use it for inspiration. But yeah, so there you go. But we aren't at that point yet. Right now, I'm still styling things such that we can position our hero section. I was trying to get this second gradient because if you can see in our design, I mean, I agree with you. You have good Google Foo. Yes. I just haven't been looking for how to accomplish it. I'm doing a lot of this stuff off the top of my head. So just seeing, it's fun. It's fun playing around, experimenting, trying things, for me, at least. If it's frustrating and annoying to you, then yeah, continue providing suggestions and I will try to follow them. So yeah. Hello, Dukasoft. Oh yeah, and hello, Marcus Voice Coder. I know you can use JavaScript to get the vertical scroll position. Yeah, exactly. So that's what that second example does, I believe. Or like speed, hero top. Okay, yeah, so on Windows scroll, then get the page offset and then use that to determine how far to offset the background for the hero section. Oh yeah, right. And then this background is just fixed when you get to this point. I thought this was a pretty decent design, but again, you can see where I fall into the same trap of here's this nav bar with a background with this hard line underneath that says I am a nav bar. And then you get down here and it's like, okay, I'm still a nav bar, as opposed to what modern sites currently look like, which typically have no nav bar or no lines for their nav. This one, for example, like it's the same color as the rest of the background. This one, for example. So nav bar, no hard lines dividing the nav from the rest of the page. And I like how every single one of these is like, yeah, this is a great design, but we're not going to show you what it looks like while you're scrolling. We're only going to show you what it looks like when the elements are exactly in the center of your screen and on 1920 by 1080 or 16 by 9. But I'm sure that if we watched this video, they would show us what it looks like to scroll, right? As they type slower than nails. Rust. Yeah, no, they aren't going to show us. Well, and then it goes to a completely different UI. Like, what even? What are you showing us? Oh, man. Anyway, you get my gripe. So we're going to keep going with what we got though. I'm going to finish styling this. Why aren't you a... Oh no. The background color of this button is the same color as the background. Here. Gosh. Let's try to find the actual colors for these. You are stop that. Stop it. Don't do it. Okay, so this first one is our linear gradient starting at 200 D29, which is not one of our standard colors. Well, it is a good color. It is. I agree. I'll probably create a custom property for this, for the gradient, or for the background gradient, but for now I'm just going to do it in line. Kind of like I already did, I guess. So anyway, that first one is going to be this. Wait, that is this color. That was one of these colors? Am I blind? Oh my gosh, it's right there. Oh dear. This one is 230143, which is that color. And so now you can see that button. Stop wiggling your mouse. That's a trigger for some people. I did not mean to wiggle my mouse like that. I apologize. And that's what I used for the last color. And so the next color kind of looks like... Oh no. Okay, this color here. So does that mean that this color is this color? Dukesoft, mind your manners. Oh my gosh. 34005C. So rude. Just okay, so there's those colors. What this means though is if I make the screen narrow enough, the button could eventually get overlapped with this. So I don't think that I want to use percentages when we get to smaller form factors. So that should be fixed when we do responsive. So this gradient is not going to be based on percentages. I don't even know if we're going to have a gradient for smaller screens, narrower screens. I don't know why it's all the way back there. Tasty. My water tastes of magnesium and calcium with a hint of iron phosphate. What? Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Hello, Napalm. I hope you're having a great day. All right. So good. So there we are. That's what we got. I want to get this shadow, or it's almost a vignette effect, but only on top. So I'm wondering, I was wondering this last time, but should I just have a what? Should I just have a what, Umberto? Should I just have another element that does this? What if, and this is a big what if, but what if for our header, we told it to be, no, because then that would be on top of everything. What? Sounds good. What if we told this thing to be overflow visible? Oops. What? I know what I'm typing. No, that wouldn't work because I still need the effect to start at the very top. Why does app header even have a top margin? That is supposed to be a top padding. Because it's display flex line item center. But I still don't understand why it has a margin on top. And I know it has a margin because the shadow effect starts some distance away. Oh, there's an inner padding on the app, on the container. Or are you on body? App, 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 app. Where is app? That's body. Oh, yeah. It is an app component or element. Is app a built-in element that gets styling? Or is it just that body has padding by default? Ah, it has a margin by default. Okay, so header, what I would like to do with header is give it a fixed size. And that is going to be, what do I normally give it? So like, I remember the Blazor template being something like 4.4 rems. And I want to be able to see this while we're making changes. But I like to use characters when it comes to things that I'm basing off of font sizes. Well, you know, based off of the number of lines I want inside of here. Body, parallax background, pace holder. Here we go. So height is, oh my gosh, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. I'm a professional. Trust me. Okay, so that's more of the effect that I want for the header. Yeah, 4.4 seems a little bit excessive. Maybe it was 3.3. I just remember it was a repeating number. That's about it. Cool. Más tequila. Okay. So then the other thing that you can see happening is that if I try to use this effect for just on the header, then it's clipped on the left and right. So this can't be in the header. And I really want to put it in here and call it something like vignette top, if I know how to spell vignette. Why would I choose to use a word like that? Vignette. Wait, I did spell it right. Complete guess. I'm sure I've seen it before. That's what happened. So then vignette top will be vignette top will be a position fixed. And since this is inside of this container that's already z-index -1, it should stay at z-index -1 as well. So position fixed in set 0 to take up the entire page, no matter if you scroll or not. And then we add the background gradient. And there we go. That did it. What? Make it a little darker. Can't believe that worked on the first try. Place cat? Is that what it was, Thindle? I need some image placeholders. Place kitten. Cat placeholders, aka cat bookmarks. Yeah, this is what's been happening to me for all of the placeholder sites. They're slow. They're very, very slow. Like there's a another one that I used to use called, I don't remember. I'm sure it's in here. Yeah, and that would be too slow for what I'm doing because it's gonna refresh like every single time I make a change and probably be like, you're trying to DOS us. Your requests are blocked. Not allowed. So I'm gonna try to find an SVG one that I could borrow. Excuse me, are you an SVG? Put an image in a new tab. View source. You are an SVG. Can I borrow you? For our logo, we're going to put in our SVG. Make you not a placeholder. Change your fixed width and height so you fit inside of my container, and change your fill, which I'm sure is at the end of path. Oh, you don't even have a fill. Okay. Oh, here it is. To white. Pexels. Pexels sounds right. Wait. No, I'm talking about the one as a service. But yeah, these are definitely places that I have used for stock photos for images that I can just, you know, put up there, put in there. Which we can use and probably will use for now. But it was just like you point the image source to something like the place kittens URL, and it gives you a different image every time. Okay, so we have a placeholder app icon. And for this one, it's like I need 3 images or 4 images. So that was the idea. And I don't know if it works for this app, but the original idea was something along these lines where you can see the app at work or screens from the actual application on this landing page to make it appealing for people to be like, yeah, I want to use that. That looks cool. Do the graphs really fly off the page like that? And the answer is yes. Just turn on AR mode and then you can tweak the Pixum. That's the one that I use. Thank you. That is absolutely the one that I used. What are your... But again, it just doesn't really work with CodePen because for every change, it reloads the page. And I think that's what I was doing wrong when I first used it. So we're getting there though. The thing that I was testing here is to make sure that this vignette stays. The other thing that we can do while we're here is to make our app header position sticky top 0. I like putting these first. Does anyone have like preferred order that they put their CSS in? Does anyone know if there's a standard for that I should be following? Anyway, what this does is it allows us to scroll and the header stays in place. So that worked. This is a little big. I'm pretty sure there is. I don't follow one though. Same. So same. That's the header. Here's main. There's the hero section. Okay. Right. So here's how I normally style my app. I guess I'll go ahead and do that. So app I typically have as display grid, position fixed, inset 0. Oops. And that way, when I have my content, the only thing that will get a scroll bar, which is again not typical, not that I'm looking at it. The only thing that would get a scroll bar is main if it overflows. And that way, well, let me just show you what I mean by that. So grid template areas. Actually, in this case, I really do only have 2 top level areas. Oh, except for the parallax. So I do want to name these. I have header and main. So I will still name these header, main, whoops. Grid template rows, auto 1FR. So what will happen with grid template rows is it says that the first row will take up as much space as its its content, and then the second one will take up the remaining 1 free space. If you wanted to, you could have something take up twice as much free space as everything else, and then everything else divides it evenly, or that's what the number in front of this free space unit is. So how to divide up the remaining space after everything else has been positioned. So there's that. And then main is the thing that will get overflow auto. And that way, if we get a scroll bar, it will only affect main. What happened to my... Yeah. And you can see there the scroll bar is only inside here for main and does not affect the header. And that way it looks like, even though the header doesn't have a background and main, like what you saw before was all of this content was going behind the header when I had position sticky top 0. But now main is actually going behind the header. Or it looks like it's going behind the header, but it's actually cut off here. Gosh, that's what I'm trying to say. So that accomplishes what we need in place in order to do this effect. Which effect? This one. Where it looks like it's going behind. So this is where we need the animate this thing. One of the places that we needed at least. So animate timeline, animation timeline, view block. Yeah, see how it's also fading? The problem is I want it to not uniformly turn transparent. How do I accomplish that? I think I can use a combination of blend and a gradient. So as I scroll down, the element that has the gradient in it that goes from white to transparent, or maybe black to transparent, I don't know which one is going to work, will get taller until it takes up the entire height of the header of the hero section. And as it's getting that tall, why did you get whiter? And why can't I? That's odd. When you go too short, you can't change the size of the left panel. But anyway, as you scroll down, the div that will be blended, or the element that will be blended onto the top of the hero section, will blend in a way that makes the content transparent from bottom to top to bottom. It's gonna work. We're gonna try it. I do want to put the rest of the content on here so I don't have to keep shrinking it in order to be able to scroll. So let's put the next, no, this is all one section. The div for deposits. This is hero. This is the transactions section. That's the header. Feature highlight, maybe. I don't know what to call it. Terrible at naming things. So feature highlight gets a H. What are we at? H2 currently. We're at H2 for this section, so these are going to be H3s. Waiting on a CI/CD pipeline feels like something there should be a country song about. Especially ours. Ours takes 25 minutes per run, and one of the things that we need is for the pipeline to build successfully in order for a PR to be mergeable. That's one of our gates. And so if the PR is getting reviewed and we've already run the pipeline on it and they're like, you need to change this, then we make that one small change, do a commit, and then the pipeline needs to run again for 30 minutes. And if we have, like I had 3 fixes yesterday, oh, ours fails midway all the time too. Oh my goodness. Oh, to update a README file? Ours doesn't do it for that reason. We have another NuGet feed that is hosted internal to the company that sometimes is unreachable, just randomly. And then the other one is that we do the code signing in the CI build. As opposed to a separate yeah, I would have a different build for it. So the first build is just, can we build the solution, generate the artifacts, and then output them to a ready to be signed directory, staging directory. That would kick off the next pipeline, which is code signing, or I guess, yeah, code obfuscation would have been done in the previous one too. So anyway, code signing in the next step, separate from the main build that is required for us to be able to do a PR. So once the PR goes through, then sure, go ahead and do the build solutions, sign the code, generate the, and this, again, this should be in a separate release build or release pipeline. Generate the MSIX, APPX, or MSI and APPX and setup.exe, sign those, and then publish the artifacts. But we only have one pipeline that does all of it. Not the way I would have set it up. Just saying. We will call this a caption 2. Would rather listen to an AC/DC pipeline. Heck yeah. Why have one pipeline when you can have 2 for double the price? Because we're using... Oh, that's probably why, though. I think our main code lives on a free ADO organization, but all of the code signing and stuff is the enterprise agency one. So I don't know. So double the price of free, I don't know why. Especially when that pipeline should only ever run, the second pipeline and the release pipeline should only ever run for release. Or for master, aka main. Yeah, a code signing cert is expensive. Signing code is free once you have the cert. And we have our cert. We have a signing server, actually. 2.5. 2.5. Oh, right. And then this is actually split up into 2. Oh. I could do that. I don't know. You guys tell me when I put this on here what your thoughts are, if you have thoughts at all. So the way that I have the design set up is we have the feature and some clever phrase for what you would want to use this for. I think, I can't remember who suggested this, but it's the problem solution kind of approach, but not really. But you can tell that this is intended to be a div with flex, where there is this container on the left that has content and this container on the right that has content, and they have space between. But what I could do is make this entire section a grid, which I think we can visualize here. Nope. No. Layout grid, where we have 2 columns. How do I tell it that I want these to be columns? Columns. Okay, where we have 2 columns. And then the header would be grid row span or grid column span 2. And then all of the elements would be an immediate child of the parent container. So header, div class feature, div class feature image, div class feature image, div class feature, div class feature, div class feature image. And then it would automatically put them in row column order. Column row order, whatever. So that's option 1. Option 2 is to make each one of these feature sections its own div, and then have this be div left side, div right side. So display flex, essentially, with space between. The benefit of using grid is that it would be harder to tell it to change the order when we are on narrower screens. So we would probably have it to where the image is right above the feature. Grid. And so we'd want to have a way to say when we are displaying this as a grid, we want the image to go first, followed by the feature text, followed by the next image, followed by feature text. It could be done via grid templates, but what if we add a feature? Then for each feature that we add, they're going to need to get their own grid area. So this would have one grid area, this would have another grid area, this one would have a grid area, etc. Whereas if we did them as flex, then what we could do is make them all be the grid. We'll do the image first. The grid image first, and then the text, and then alternate for every other one. Change the direction of flex. So that we're reversing the elements. And that way, when we go to the responsive mode, it will always be image, text, image, text. In the DOM, that is. I mean, my preference is to use grid for everything, but I think in this case it might be more beneficial to use div flex with divs inside. I don't like that. I like that at all. But I'm going to do it that way. Again, if you do have a stronger opinion as to doing it the other way. So we're going to call this the description. And then we're going to have the image. But what do we call it? Graphic. We'll have a div class placeholder. For the image. Okay, so for our transactions section, actually we'll see. In main, here's hero section, which we can do as section like so, and hero section. Wait, what's collapsed? No, help. What did I do? What did I do? Okay. That was scary. Section. Like so. And hero section. And whatever is in my clipboard. Dang it! Track transaction section. The header is going to be display flex. Actually, display grid, place items center. I'm not liking the gap between those two, but we'll clean that up. Told you I prefer using grid for everything. Then we have feature highlights, which is going to be display flex. Justify content space between. And let's make the placeholder graphic. Placeholder. Well, that was a useful meeting. ... That was only an hour meeting. It's not terrible. An hour stand up. Hello all, how are we doing today? We are air plus fire equals smoke and smelly. So how are you? I told you on your stream this morning, if you were interested or asked if you're interested in seeing how I go about persisting state in an application, I can pull up an example, especially for caching values from the server. I just need to see if I have cloned that project to this computer, now that I think of it. Step 1. You make a dream come true. 12. I forgot how to count. Pick a number between 1 and we start over. But anyway, just let me know if you're interested in it. I'll open it and we'll look at it. I think I just made a developer think less of me because I said, why do we want to try and do this the right way? Let's just do it quickly and move on. This 5,000 line PHP class isn't going to benefit from breaking the single SQL query out into a class we inject. Were you being sardonic? Because I get cynical, sardonic, very sarcastic. When I'm like, we've talked about this before. I'm kind of tired of mentioning this, so why bother doing this the right way? Why can't we just, put everything into one file, recreate a new class when we already have a standard way to discover devices on a system, but because we're adding a new device discovery, let's create a new approach and try to jerry-rig that onto our existing approach, and then say, hey, UI guy, can you add this information to the system information page. It's like, if you just make a new class for that specific device type that inherits from, or that implements this interface, and add it to the existing system information property that is a collection of that interface, it'll show up automatically as soon as you discover it. That's what I get. I'm choking on my water. We're trying to move from PHP 5.6 to PHP 8. Worrying about how developers will follow our standards by making more sweeping changes while we're still on 5.6 isn't going to stem the flow. Yeah, I mean, it's like you want to get these changes done quickly so that people don't just keep adding changes to the 5.6 that you have to migrate over, and then you're getting people triggered. Developers following standards. Ho ho ho. I think's not. Yeah, you still didn't answer though. Do you want to see this? Yay, nay, maybe? Perhaps, perhaps not. Perhaps we don't really give a shiitake mushroom. Height of, let's say, 4ch, width of 4ch. And there it is. Probably need to make it bigger. So let's do 10. You weren't answering fast enough. And this is a stand-up. You need to answer faster. Okay. And then invert would be flex direction row reverse. So what that'll do is hopefully move this picture to and swap the place of the picture and the text. So here we go. Invert. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got it right on the first try. I am remembering a lot more of this than I thought I would remember. Oh, I don't even use this very often. That's fun. Okay, so on TBD Gamer's stream, which by the way, if you have the availability, he streams pretty much every weekday. TBD Gamer. Every weekday from about 6.5 hours ago, and he streams for 2 hours. And on Mondays and Tuesdays, he works on a stream project called Water Drink Water that everyone can contribute to. You can find it on his GitHub. And you can do forking, pull requests, give suggestions during the stream, review his pull requests, and just, you know, help make it a really cool project for everyone to learn from. No, you're finally starting to break. That's sad. And then on Tuesdays on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, he works on another app that is a project management app that is geared towards developer. It's developer focused. It's closed source, but he does do all of his streaming, or a lot of it on stream. He does some of the work off stream, but really cool project. Uses some really cool technologies. Definitely give him a check. And thank you so much for the follow to this stream. Really appreciate it. So anyway, this morning during his stream, he was talking about, you know, using different front-end technologies for various reasons. That second project that I told you about, he is doing the front end using Angular because that's what he's most comfortable in. That's what works for him. He knows the patterns on how to do stuff. And he was just somewhat asking the question. Maybe it was fully asking the question, but for the most part, somewhat asking the question about how would you even approach this type of concept? And in his case, it is getting messages essentially from the server using WebSockets that say, I have updated information, and the UI getting that and then updating the UI per those messages being sent per those events. And so I said that I could show, and then he also asked about how do you manage state in an app. So I said that I could show how I'm doing a couple of those things in an app that I used to work on back in 1812. Long time ago. I doubt I even have changes in that. Oh, Fix User Guide. I'm in a branch called Fix User Guide, which doesn't exist anymore. But there were changes to main. Cool. Okay, so here's the latest. So this application is an application where users can go to log observations that they have in their environment about hazards or about safety things that were done well. With that, I guess I can show an example of what the app looks like currently. No, you missed a C. Which, yes, I do still have logins for this. Because they do ask me on occasion to help them out. First of all, you can see it's a PWA. So actually, let me just talk about all of the features of the app and then show how I am accomplishing them. Wow, that took a really long time. Okay, so it also has notifications, right? So I use the Blazor notification service. I forget what it's called, that helps you to interop with the browser. If the user allows notifications, then they will get updates that are on their reported item. Or if they are an admin, they can choose to have a notification pop up every single time a new item is added. Cool. So you add a report. And by this point in time, these drop downs are all populated. And I've gone to the server, gotten any updated lookup items since the last time I've checked, like if they've been updated since the last time I've checked, cache them in this session, and I'll show you how I do that, and pull them. So even if we lose internet connection, we could still pop up this dialog, fill it out, and complete it all the way. Actually, you know what? I can change that to Navarro. Sure, 129. Test. Okay, so if I hit submit and we didn't have internet, this would store it in IndexedDB in a collection that is essentially, actually it does this every time no matter what, in a collection that says I have outgoing data. And once there is an internet connection, or if we already have an internet connection, the next thing it does is it reads through that collection and says, do we have any items in here? If so, let's perform the actual upload. And if it fails, leave the item in the collection. We'll try again. Data is always outgoing. Aw, that's sad. Anyway, so you submit, and because we have an internet connection, it did the whole thing where it went out to the service and then uploaded to the server. The thing that it should have done, though, is updated my list of reports. So anyone that was in the app at the time I created this item would have gotten a message to their app that got broadcast to them that says there is a new message or a new object, and therefore you should repopulate your dagnabbit. You should repopulate your list of objects. That worked before, I promise you. Let me show another example real quick. The demo's going well. Yeah, as always. So let me open another browser. So this is another session. Come on. Okay, fine, go there. I don't care. We'll just stretch you like so. Okay. Don't ask me again. No, you can ask me again. Keep an eye on status. So someone comes in, clicks on the current item. Oh, okay. Double clicks on the current item, and there's an update to that item. Let's say I update my description. So don't keep an eye on status because I'm not logged in as a maintainer or whatever they're called. The people that go in and respond to these, a responder is what they're called. So keep an eye on the description. Test update. I push update, and son of a dag nabbit. So anyway, normally the description would have gotten updated because I have a Signal R. I'm not sold, or well, I'm sold. I have a Signal R hub on the server, and it broadcasts messages to all clients that are connected to it that says, here's an update. When the client gets the message, it updates it in the UI when it receives that message. So that's similar to your I can't think of what it's called. GraphQL, thank you. Subscription. So, ignoring that those didn't actually work, imagine that they did. You have a good imagination. Whenever changes are made, whenever new records are created, I get a Signal R message to whatever client I'm using, and then my UI updates and adds it to the collection of records that should be showing. And then you can see it. There's a large pothole near a light pole. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know why it didn't work. That makes me sad. But as I mentioned, if we go offline, offline, the app is still up. I refresh, and if we downloaded it as a PWA, I could still open the app, and I still have all of my drop-down options. And I can still fill everything out. And I can still hit submit. However, what ended up happening, and again, this would have disappeared. I don't know what's going on, man. It's only been 2 years since I've touched this, 2 or 3 years. Is right here in server day, in local edits, it would have created another record with the JSON for this. And then the next time we get internet connection, this update process would happen on a periodic basis, or when you click the update button, the status for it would be unable to contact server until you get internet connection. And then when you get your network connection, it will upload to the server and disappear from IndexedDB. The lists, as you saw, yeah. So anyway, local edits is where it would be. The lists, as you saw, are all in IndexedDB as well. So when I go to the server and I ask for the list of, when the client application asks for the list of items for this drop-down menu, it first pulls them from here based off of their list type. So I have a discriminator field for, I guess it really is just the Newtonsoft type that I'm using. Okay, based off of their type. I'm looking at this and like, who wrote this? I'm trying to get a network real quick and get us reconnected. Application, please. Okay, so they're cached here, but then the next step that it does is let me also go and do a request for any new lookup items that, or any lookup items whose last updated date is greater than the most recent last updated date for that set of lookup items. So what do I mean by that? I mean that in here, one of the properties of this object is last updated date. And so for identification method, I would get the most recent last updated date and query the server and say, what is the most recent? Oh, no wonder it didn't show up. The most recent lookups as of that last updated date. And it would give me that list. And only the list of new items that would get added, or deleted items even. So if the deleted flag was changed, essentially. So how is that done? Given that you have a good imagination and saw that everything that I just showed you worked, my server lies over the ocean and has a Signal R hub. So add Signal R. And map it to this object, my update status Signal R hub, which uses Signal R base, because if I wanted to, I could have other Signal R hubs that do different things and maybe use different communication channels, or I can just use the same Signal R hub, whatever. I plan on putting this in its own library so it's reusable for the RMA apps. But anyway, you can see here that it's just send a message to all clients. No real discriminator that says use this channel, but you can do that if you want. You can specify channel, you can specify client ID, whatever the other thing is called, subject. But you just broadcast a message to everyone. The username that requested the message is what I'm using as a pseudo discriminator. And here is a, oh yeah, and this is just registering a specific client in case I wanted to send to specific clients. But yeah, so that's the easy part of setting up the server, the Signal R hub. Then the Signal R client, which exists in the client, is done by adding Signal R. Right, adding my Signal R service. And that gets my Signal R client. And I subscribe to a bunch of the events for that Signal R client, such as message received, or the connection closed, or it's reconnecting, or reconnected. And once those things happen, there are other things that are listening to these events on this object. And so this is what is dependency injected in my client components, the Signal R service. They then in turn subscribe to and unsubscribe from the specific events that they care about. And then this is how they know when I get a new message, do whatever it is I'm supposed to do here. I'll read your messages in a second, because I have one more thing to go through, which is I mentioned that whole service with putting stuff into IndexedDB. Again, this is all, I guess the point that I was trying to make with this was that everything I showed you over here with the setup of Signal R client, Signal R hub, and the services for using them are all essentially code behind. They're backend code that is agnostic to using Blazor. What it depends on is using C#, but since this is a .NET hosted API essentially with the Signal R hub, you could do the same Signal R client using JavaScript if you wanted to. Just listen for those events get your objects, and respond to them using JavaScript. So your client doesn't matter. The thing that matters is, here is the shape of data that I'm going to send you and what you should be listening to. You get to decide how you act on it. So we could, if we wanted to, replace this client project with Angular, and then vice versa, or PHP. No. As long as you have some way to use SignalR to listen for messages from the hub, or even send messages to the hub if it's a hub that receives messages from clients. You could also do it with gRPC. You could also do it with other technologies if you wanted. But as far as storing state between my pages, between my page routes, and between different components that might even be displayed on the same screen, I typically use an approach where I create a service state class that I put in my salad. Did I use state classes in this project? So I was still getting a feel for how I wanted to architect my stuff while I was creating these apps. So that's why there's a lot of weird things that I don't normally do. Yeah, let's go with edit list state. Okay, so edit list state is just a class. I've been also creating interfaces for these just in case I want to swap them out while I'm testing and then have a fake implementation for it. But in these days, you can even tell that my code style has changed. In these days, I just made the state class itself. But this thing would typically have my list of lookup items that I'm using for whatever it is that I'm using the state class for, loaded in memory. The other thing that I could have in this is my getter for going to IndexedDB, checking to see, do we have items for this, go to the service, do the update for any new items, smash them together, output them as the lookup items that you need. But every single time that one of these lists change, this thing will emit an event. And again, other components, other classes are going to be listening for it and performing some operation. Here, most of them are just doing a state has changed, re-render, update the UI so that anything that's different from the previous time we rendered to what it's supposed to look like, only those changes get applied. And so once again, that's a lot like your signaling service that you're using. The end. That's all I got. Okay, now I'm gonna catch up in chat. If you want more information on any of that, please let me know. I know I rushed through it and I tried to group things together, but I'm sure I went in different directions. I'm supposed to be 40, but who's counting? Demo's going well. Well, I'm sold. It would work if he wasn't demonstrating it. I don't think it would work. Well, maybe it works on the production server because I haven't heard anything about it not doing what it's supposed to do. But this was the first project that I did use SignalR in. So both SignalR and IndexedDB. And I got most of my examples for how to implement them from the Blazin' Pizzas app when I was doing that tutorial. I remember this now. Oh my gosh. Anyway, last week you say, or maybe your memory is a bit more persistent than mine. This sounds like a conversation we've had. And then Deflex made it. I wish I got to play with SignalR more, says Napalm. And Thindle said to Napalm, I'm trying to get my current customer to realize the awesomeness of WebSockets. They're like, no, we'll do REST with manual polling. Oh my gosh. My project manager was trying to get us to do manual polling for hardware changes while the app is open. It's like, you could just use the events from the Windows API. Anyway. They all use Angular, so I mean, they're JavaScript folks. They also use Angular. Ditto in my experience to Thindle. No one ever wants to risk WebSockets for some freaking reason. I would think that JavaScript folks would embrace WebSockets more rather than less. This is TVD Gamer. Thindle said, they argue against it. I tell them they're wrong. They dig in. So don't tell them they're wrong. Tell them I understand your point. However, have you considered this? It's a way of telling them they're wrong without saying that they're wrong. It's like, you're right, except. It's kind of my approach for everything, which is terrible, probably. Maybe. I don't feel bad about it. I don't think you're wrong, but I think you could be more right. Okay. Network instability in this case. Oh, I do tell them how and why they're wrong. I always hear complexity is too high and networking security, blah, 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 blah. Network instability, yeah. There's a lot of stuff you can do to secure SignalR and WebSocket connections. So it's pretty much the same as sending an API request. It's just as secure as that. From what I understand, I could be wrong. I think there are tons of SignalR clients in different languages. Yeah, absolutely. It's spread out everywhere. So folks just don't understand it is what it comes down to. I agree with that, Napalm. One of the arguments that TBD Gamer does use a lot that I agree with wholeheartedly is I could spend the time learning that technology that you say is the better way to do things, but I know how to do it in this technology currently, and the tech debt essentially of learning the new technology and being able to maintain it would take a lot more work than doing it using this technology that I know does work, is maintainable, is not a terrible choice to use for it. So why not go ahead and use the thing that I am using? Thank you. I appreciate you taking me through that. And I understand the general direction. Yeah, the whole general direction is you can architect your backend however you want. There are ways to use different clients to get the information from your backend, whether it's an API that you do HTTP requests to, something that accepts SignalR connections or WebSocket connections. Yeah. But you get it. I'm supposed to be 40-ish. My driver's license says so. I'd say I'm mentally closer to 12. At least my humor is. I would say I'm somewhere closer to 1,432. I'm applying for Blazor jobs like a full-time job. There's a lot of work out there. Absolutely. I got contacted recently for another type of project that I would really love to do right now. They're converting an Angular app to Blazor, an Angular front end to Blazor, which is relevant to this conversation. And they are wanting someone that can migrate legacy applications. And it's like not even Angular 2, I don't think. It's really old. And it says, I hear what you're saying, but nothing before the but counts. And nothing after the but counts either. Well, you can say, instead of using the word but, the one that I use often is with my team members. Yeah, that does sound like a good approach. The one that I was looking at was this. What do you think about it? And most of the time it doesn't work because the person that I use that on is pretty much like, I've decided to do it this way and I just wanted to tell someone about it to say that I did talk with someone about it, but I'm going to do it this way anyway, no matter what anyone says. So I hate that. Anyway, T-Flex says, Sedilix was using socket connections between his Blazor server and Unity app, and he moved everything over to SignalR and it works much better. Polling works, but at scale, it's a distributed denial of service attack. I agree. Absolutely. Think of having a million clients connected to your server just pulling, hey, API, do you have any updated information? Do you have any update? Do you have, hey, I was wondering, what are you doing on Friday? Will you have an updated information on Friday? What about now? No? Next Sunday? Now? No. Okay, anyway. Fennel said to Napalm, luckily, in this case, it's a local network on a boat with pretty few clients. In that case, maybe a good choice complexity-wise. And that's why they're afraid of network stability. Wi-Fi network on a boat is in the middle of the Atlantic. Yeah. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? 500, 500, 500. Yes. Okay. No, UDP. Everyone knows the future of HTTP is UDP. Oh man. Ack, ack, ack. Holy cow. Copy pasta, copy pasta. Anyway, TBD Gamer, let me know if there is any further discussion you want to have on that. I'd be happy to talk with you more. But it sounds like you're good. You hear the, I'm going to call it argument, even though I'm not arguing for or against anything. I was just showing you how I do it. Oh, did I even say that out loud? This state class, as you can see, is dependency injected in my client so that my stored list of lookup items or whatever it is that I want to store in state is just a C# class that's a singleton in my client app. And that's it. And then if I wanted to do a more permanent storage, I use IndexedDB for complex objects or local storage if it's not anything that matters. Like, did the user select dark mode or not? I think you can even see that in the app that I was just showing. So let me just show that. Application, local storage, no dark mode value. I check dark mode. You can see dark mode true. So every time I come back to this page in this browser, it will remember I clicked dark mode. And it doesn't matter if the user screws with this, does whatever, because then it's just like, I can't read that value of dark mode, so I will crash. What? I know that I... This application, I'm hoping that what's on the test server is not the application that's in production. That is hilarious. Good grief. Anyway, in future iterations, such as in Waterman, it definitely just says, if I can't understand the value for this thing that I'm looking for in local storage, I'll just default to my default. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. Oh my god. Okay, anyway, we have our way for being able to get these on here. Let's finish adding the content so that we can do the scrolling and have the parallax happen on the background. With the way that the image placeholder is here, it kind of looks like there's parallax already happening. Wait, maybe there is. Does it look like it's moving to the right, like for real? This is where the line is. I think it's actually moving already. I didn't even put any parallax on it. That's very weird. I don't understand why it would be moving. Job security. You broke it before leaving. No, I would never, ever, ever. I'm offended that you would even think I do that. My FI is wounded. My one is wounded. deeply. I felt that physically. I kind of did, but I know you're joking. Oops. What happened? What happened? Moment, please. I'll be right with you. Yeah. Man, what's going on, mouse? Mouse, cooperate. Oh my goodness, forget you, mouse. Okay, and then push this button and I'm good to go. Coffee. Oh, I didn't actually read Thindle's big long messages. I'll at least read them to myself. Yeah, I can't read it. My goodness. Makes my eyes cross. I'll read it out loud because I can read better that way. This would be more accurate if the TCP bottle was held by someone else and they asked to drink from it. The conversation would go something like this. Hey, I'd like to drink some water. Okay, you'd like to drink some water. Yes, I'd like to drink some water. Okay, you are ready to drink some water. Yes, I'm ready to drink some water. Okay, I'm about to give you some water. Okay, I'm about to receive some water. Ack, 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 ack. Hey, I'd like to drink some water. Okay, you'd like... Okay, here's some water. Did you get the water? Yes, I got the water. Okay, you got the water. Bye. So yes, that was from a meme. Mars Attacks Martian meme? Maybe? Or just this is related to it somehow? For those of you that get the reference. Why are you on this screen? You belong over here. I was showing you guys the hugging face. Actually, no, I need that browser. I was wanting to look at this Databricks company. Reemployment security, employment security squared. I think your eyes are playing tricks. I think it's an illusion. Put my mouse over the point of the gradient and it didn't move. I put my finger on the screen and it kind of felt like it moved. But I mean, my finger is not a very good indicator of whether this thing is moving or not. It's terrible. That is really, really hard to tell. I just need to put a piece of tape on it. It's a piece of tape. Drink water. But I believe you guys. It's not moving. This is an illusion, optical illusion. Dukasoft is the best non-bot bot ever. Thank you, Dukabot, for reminding us. Oh, so is Thindle. Thindle's a really good streamer. I don't think we actually shouted him out. He's a .NET developer working on modernizing legacy applications as well, specifically an e-commerce site going from web forms all the way through .NET Framework, through .NET Core, and adding some Blazor, and just doing overall fun stuff. He's also the author of No Docs, Don't Dox Yourself, XXX every time. It's an extension in Visual Studio that you can use to hide your secrets or any keys in JSON and XML, any values in JSON and XML files. So if I were to open my secrets for this project, which would be bad because that has all of my connection strings, including the production connection strings, then you would see that they're masked out. So that's how much I trust it. Yeah, he also has the WYSIWYG editor that he's been working on. It's Blazor. He's been experimenting with that. I can remember my own commands. They're called Thindablocks. Thindablock. That's Thindle. It's a pizza tape. Yeah, okay, so we're done there. Going back to our UI design and stuff, I'm gonna add the remaining pieces of content, and then we'll continue styling. So payments, track money going out of your tracked accounts to external sources. That sounds like words I would use. I don't even know what I did with the CodePen page. Here it is. It's really hard to find. Okay, so this is also going to be an. One more back. This is the problem with div soup. Feature highlight. Back in the highlight. Again. What did I call that one? Did I call it transactions or transfers? Payments. I was close. But I don't know what semantic HTML to use for this. So I am definitely using semantic HTML. So I have main section. These would be articles, is what you're telling me? I guess they would be articles, wouldn't they? I mean, they're only short section blurbs, but they kind of are articles. I mean, I would. I would definitely do that. So let me just get these on here first. Div description, and I put the graphic first, dang it. There's also a book called Micro Format. I don't read books for my technology information. I'm sorry. They get out of date pretty fast, and even if they are stuff that stands forever, I'd still rather see it online. In blog format, in electronic format. Well, I got it 13 years ago. Micro formats made simple. Advanced version of semantic HTML. Looking for the placeholder. That would be you. Okay. And one more, which is going to be the same as this, but instead it will be transfers. Transfers. I like a good book, but I gave up on tech books unless it's generic design patterns or stuff that's timeless. Yeah. But again, if it's timeless, it'll exist on the interwebs in some form. And if it's something that I believe I want to keep and don't want to disappear, then I will make my own copy of it. Yeah? Yeah. Or a caption. Okay, so we have our content, like so, and you can see that because I'm using this invert class, that's how I'm getting it to row reverse. So one will be description on the left, image on the right. The other one will be image on the left, description on the right, and it'll alternate. The other thing that I could do is instead of using invert class, your eyes need a break from screens. Mine don't. At least not that I'm aware of. They probably do, but I haven't noticed. However, I was playing a puzzle game thing on my phone. They call them adventure games, but they're not really adventure games. But anyway, so I was playing a puzzle game on my phone and doing the puzzles and solving them. But I think because of the way that I focus in on a specific element on that type of game versus something like match 3 kind of game, you know, the one where you break pieces of sugar. into pieces is that I look at the whole screen for that. I don't need to focus in on a small part. But when I go from looking at that to reading code on a screen, my eyes cross really, really bad, and the words double up. And I already have trouble reading words because the way that my brain works is I will intuit what words are supposed to be said based off of, you know, what everyone does. So if you, oh my goodness, I'm getting a message. Write out a bunch of words with jumbled letters. Anyway, stuff like this. You can intuit what this sentence says, even though the words are all jumbled up, or the letters are all jumbled up. You can still read it pretty easily. It's just but my brain does that to the nth degree, where I'll read the first few letters of a word in a sentence, and then the third word's last couple letters, and then intuit all of the words in between, and it's really bad. And that's why reading stuff out loud makes me slow down and actually read the things. Yeah, correct letters, correct length, first and last, exactly. Edit Thindle, Swedish. Thindle is awesome. I'm pushing 40, dude. You have young guys yet. Are you talking to me? I may be a little bit older than 40. To be 39 again. Holy, I'm older than you, Thindle. 40 in 2 months. Really, Winline? Yes, really. I appreciate the compliment. But I am, in fact, over 40. Well, now you know. You look 35. I feel like I'm just barely over 2,893 years old. Um, 2,893 years and a half. I think he looks lion. Can you read the word up there? Because it's a hard one. No, I can't. I don't. It's probably because it's just a word that I don't know. Assembly. Man, that one's really hard. Whoa. I saw it at the last second. Okay, what we can do instead of invert is we can do and nth child n plus 1 row reverse, and that will, oh wait, odd. That's what I meant. Yeah, and what that'll do is it'll reverse the odd rows because it's 2n plus 1. Oops. I'm gonna lie down on the floor and forcibly snuggle Zelda. Awesome. I hope you get to enjoy your time. Okay, so we have our content on here that we know about. I guess there is one more bit of content that I could stand to add, and it wasn't that. It's the footer, which we didn't actually come up with a footer, did we? Well, crap. I thought I did. I kind of did. This isn't a bad footer. I'd use this. Yeah, I'd still use this as my footer. So there's that and this content here. What happens if you stretch one of the even ones? What do you mean by stretch? I would like to know. Inquiring minds would like to know. I'm going to add another section. With the header. Section. And this one say, view your transaction history. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be able to see all of your transactions? Wondering how you managed to lose track of $500 this month? View all of your transactions using our easy-to-read transaction history list. Oh, as far as horizontally. Yeah, what I'm going to do, though, is specify the max width on the content overall. So, like, every section... The problem is I was planning on doing this, which is to set every section to have a max width of... oh, it's in CSS. Of... What is my custom function? Main content max width. The problem is that I would want the background to still span the entire width. I think. I honestly don't know how that should look. The closest example I have of showing that is this, where my max width still has this padding on the left and right. But what happens if I make this wider and I start having some more padding on the left and right? Should I cut off this purple section at the max width of the main content, or should I have this purple section still stretch all the way across? Because that would look very weird on super wide screens, in my opinion. So we'll have to come up with that, with what we do for that. And then 2 placeholder pictures that we'll style later, because we're running out of time. And this would be another case where I'm doing even odd sections for sections not hero section. Where it would give it a background of 2 alternating things. And then finally is the main footer. And the footer, I'm just gonna sketch this out really, really fast. So let me scooch this over here. Oh no, I can't just do that. Dang it. Okay, there we go. Okay, I will use div soup for this, just to sketch it out. So this one is going to be div class company info with logo. Catchphrase or slogan, I guess. And this isn't going to be a div, this is going to be an actual image. Div class placeholder. But for now, I'm going to make it a placeholder so that we have something there. But this will most likely be an image tag or an SVG element. Slogan. Ooh, this would be terrible. So these aren't going to be P's. Yeah, I know how to use it. I will. Fix it. Or everything breaks. Gosh. A-class main title. I don't know what to call it. I'm trying to rush. Automated realms. P. Oh my gosh. I was about to do it again. P class. Subtitle. Enhancing life through automation. P. And then on the other side of the footer are the socials. So div class. Oh wait, no. First we get regular links, nav links, sitemap, I guess. It's not really a sitemap, but I'm going to call it sitemap, and we'll create an actual sitemap eventually. ul li a href equals #bang. See how much work I do when I'm down to the wire and I'm just completely ignoring chat. That's terrible. Li times 3 more. I wish I could do multi-caret with this. I can't. That's fine. Ahref. Yeah, I should just do it that way. It's fine. We can just pasta. Contact us. About. Privacy. Sitemap. Then we have our div class social. ul li. So we'll have the icons and stuff too. Twitter. Oh, that's what's missing from their Twitch. Boop. Get to Habu? Yes, exactly. Faith book. The book Faith. GitHub. LinkedIn. And finally, we have div class disclaimer. Copyright. What's the, can someone tell me the ASCII key code? Copyright. 4 and copy. Thank you. That's not the ASCII key code, it's the HTML code, but that works. That's exactly what I want anyway. All rights reserved. Zero 169. Okay, we'll use and copy because we're doing HTML. I wasn't thinking, but thank you, Dukasoft. TBD Gamer said, back just in time. Fix my div class or everything breaks. Slogan P nth almost. P class yummy. EPP. Depends on what kind of P you're talking about. I mean, everyone can see the spelling that can actually see the screen, but me saying it out loud, who knows what it'll get closed captioned as automatically. Mushy peas, get your own peas. G-Bone is here. Hello. Well, excuse me. Get to Habu. I'm about to load the test the German's server for them. I'm such a nice guy. X-Witter, exactly. Which I will call it X, actually. I won't even put formerly known as Twitter. I will just put X. I think I'm gonna make that decision from now on. Do they know this is happening? To napalm? At least it's a test. I mean, it's their test server. To be fair, they didn't tell us it was going to be migrated yesterday, blocking me for 1.5 days. 0153 are the one. What's 0153? Is that the TM? TM. Heck yeah. The ones I used to use the most are 0241, 0191, and 0161. 01. Really? That's not upside down bang? Oh, 0161. I was just pushing 161. Anyway, those are the characters that I used to use a lot of back when I was Hispanic. Dendo says, oh, I'm gonna go to this screen because you know that I'm ending my stream, and this is my fair warning that I am ending my stream. But Dendo says, before I knew what I was doing, aka like yesterday, I didn't know I could do \x, so instead I opened a file in VI via Telnet and inserted the character code via that editor, and then didn't touch that string in other editor. And no, that's not Vim. Vim is too modern. This is VI. Exeter. I think it's kind of funny how literally redirects to Twitter. Yeah. I mean, it's the branding that changed, not necessarily the service. So, I don't know. Anyway, so that's that for the stream. We got the content on the page, so now we can actually work on getting the parallax to work the next time that we work on it. It still looks like it moves a little. You can do \x123 in a string. Yeah. So you can also do \u for the Unicode versions as well, I believe. Could be wrong. But yeah. Who? Ooh. We're gonna raid Bardaki. Mind your ears because he will sing. Which is not bad, by the way. And thank you for your stream this morning, TBD Gamer. I love your streams. I love hanging out on your stream. For the demonstration, where I imagined real-time notifications. Appreciate the time taken to show. I sang today. I have a friend who turned 40. Aw. WHO, World Health Organization. So yeah, we're gonna raid Bardaki. Daki. I'll be lurking on his stream after saying hello and all. I do usually run away immediately after my stream because I drink enough water during the stream that, you know, it gets dangerous. So I'm gonna start this thing now. There it goes. It took a little bit longer to get started today. Took a little bit more effort, but I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back on Friday for Community Day. And you can read all about Community Day from magical commands and stuff. Community Day, can't type. I will also post this VOD to YouTube at some point in time. I'm no longer giving a promised point in time because it can be anywhere between now and the end of tomorrow's stream, Friday's stream. Who knows? Sometimes I take longer. But yeah, that's it for me for now. Feel free to hang out in our Discord if you want. If you're already a part of too many Discords, you definitely don't have to join ours. It's pretty quiet, but we have plenty of room for all of the friendly peoples. What do you do on a remote island? Try and find the TV island it belongs to. Okay, ciao for now.